Earned Value Management, EVM, Earned Value Project Management, or Earned Value Performance Management, EVPM, is a project management technique for measuring project performance and progress in an objective manner. Earned Value Management is a project management technique for measuring project performance and progress. It has the ability to combine measurements of the project management triangle, scope, time, and costs in a single integrated system. Earned Value Management is able to provide accurate forecasts of project performance problems, which is an important contribution for project management. Early EVM research showed that the areas of planning and control are significantly impacted by its use, and similarly, using the methodology improves both scope definition as well as the analysis of overall project performance. More recent research studies have shown that the principles of EVM are positive predictors of project success. Popularity of EVM has grown in recent years beyond government contracting, a sector in which its importance continues to rise, e.g. recent new DFARS rules, in part because EVM can also surface in and help substantiate contract disputes. Essential features of any EVM implementation include a project plan that identifies work to be accomplished, evaluation of planned work, called planned value, PV, or budgeted cost of work scheduled, BCWS, predefined, and QOT, earning rules, and QOT, also called metrics, to quantify the accomplishment of work, called earned value, EV, or budgeted cost of work performed, BCWP, actual cost, which is also known as actual cost of work performed, ACWP, a plot of project cumulative costs versus time, especially to show both early date and late date curves. EVM implementations for large or complex projects include many more features, such as indicators and forecasts of cost performance, over budget or under budget, and schedule performance, behind schedule or ahead of schedule. However, the most basic requirement of an EVM system is that it quantifies progress using PV and EV. Budget at completion, BAC. The total planned value, PV, or BCWS, at the end of the project. If a project has a management reserve, MR, it is typically not included in the BAC, and respectively, in the performance measurement baseline. Cost variance, CV. CV greater than 0 is good, under budget. Cost performance index, CPI. CPI greater than 1 is favorable, under budget, and Lieutenant 1 means that the cost of completing the work is higher than planned. Bad equals 1 means that the cost of completing the work is right on plan. Good, and GT 1 means that the cost of completing the work is less than planned, good, or sometimes bad. Having a CPI that is very high, in some cases, very high is only 1.2, may mean that the plan was too conservative, and thus a very high number may in fact not be good, as the CPI is being measured against a poor baseline. Management or the customer may be upset with the planners as an overly conservative baseline ties up available funds for other purposes, and the baseline is also used for manpower planning. Estimate at completion, EAC. EAC is the manager's projection of total cost of the project at completion. This formula is based on the assumption that the performance of the project, or rather a deviation of the actual performance from a baseline, to date gives a good indication of what a performance, or rather deviation of a performance from a baseline, will be in the future. In other words, this formula is using statistics of the project to date to predict future results. Therefore it has to be used carefully, when the nature of the project in the future is likely to be different from the one to date, e.g. performance of the project compared to baseline at the design phase may not be a good indication of what it will be during a construction phase. Estimate to complete, etc. etc. is the estimate to complete the remaining work of the project. Etc. must be based on objective measures of the outstanding work remaining, typically based on the measures or estimates used to create the original planned value, PV, profile, including any adjustments to predict performance based on historical performance, actions being taken to improve performance, or acknowledgement of degraded performance. While algebraically, etc. equals EAC, AC is correct, etc. should never be computed using either EAC or AC. In the following equation, etc. is the independent variable, EAC is the dependent variable, and AC is fixed based on expenditures to date. Etc. should always be reported truthfully to reflect the project team estimate to complete the outstanding work. If etc. pushes EAC to exceed BAC, then project management skills are employed to either recommend performance improvements or scope change, but never force etc. to give the correct answer so that EAC equals BAC. Managing project activities to keep the project within budget is a human factors activity, not a mathematical function. To complete performance index, TCPI. The TCPI provides a projection of the anticipated performance required to achieve either the BAC or the EAC. TCPI indicates the future required cost efficiency needed to achieve a target BAC, budget at complete, or EAC, estimate at complete. Any significant difference between CPI, the cost performance to date, and the TCPI, the cost performance needed to meet the BAC or the EAC, should be accounted for by management in their forecast of the final cost. This implies that, if revised budget, EAC, is calculated using earned value methodology formula, BAC divided by CPI, then at the moment, when TCPI based on EAC is first time calculated, it will always be equal to CPI of a project at that moment. This happens because when EAC is calculated using formula BAC divided by CPI, it is assumed that cost performance of the remaining part of the project will be the same as the cost performance of the project to date. Independent estimate at completion, IEAC. The IEAC is a metric to project total cost using the performance to date to project overall performance. This can be compared to the EAC, which is the manager's projection.